Thanks, David.
3, 2, 1, here we go. Hello and welcome to the Gonzo Experience. I am David Gonzo Mamano here with another great episode of the Gonzo Experience podcast. Every Wednesday morning, folks, we have a brand new episode. Today, I'm going to show a really great guest that is doing some great things for the world to help you be your best through some cutting edge health techniques. And just his story is very inspiring of being an entrepreneur as well. In fact, he's not an entrepreneur. He's a healthpreneur. I think that's what he calls himself. So Yuri Elkaim, welcome to the show. How you doing, Yuri?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, David.
Absolutely. No, I'm glad we were connected, and I'm excited to hear a little bit more about your story. I know you are multiple New York Times bestseller. You already sold a company, continue to build, and so your story is tremendous. You are, like I said, you're a New York Times bestselling author. You're a former professional athlete. You're a business strategist, and now you are the founder and CEO of Healthpreneur, which is a pretty cool name. You have 20 years experience in the entrepreneurial trenches. I love it is the trenches, right? But at the age of 17, you had an experience where you lost all your hair due to an autoimmune condition. You have had consistent health battles, but these health battles propelled you into the wellness industry and eventually led you into building a successful online health empire that went to help more than 500,000 people to better health. You've written 3 best-selling books. You share your message on media outlets, major media outlets like Dr. Oz and the show called The Doctors. You sold your original business after 13 years. And now you're CEO of Healthpreneur, helping health professionals, some of them young, but helping health professionals and coaches leverage the internet so that they could turn their health business into a 6- and 7-figure virtual practice that create transformational results for people without all the grind. So pretty cool bio, Yuri. Would love to hear your story. And maybe we'll start where it all began. It sounds like you have had some health issues, losing your hair at age 17, what must have been, traumatic when everybody else had maybe the afro going on or all that stuff. I did. But like a true, I'll say just an entrepreneur's entrepreneur, that propelled you into business to help others, maybe find solutions and help others be their best through a struggle that you had. And in my opinion, those often make the best entrepreneurs because it's so personal. There's so much, their why, as Simon Sinek would say, is so strong. And it makes them incredibly successful and passionate and obsessed entrepreneurs. And it sounds like that's what you are. So Yuri, enough about me, or enough of me talking. Let's hear your journey and what you're doing today to help other people.
Yeah. So really, my journey started when I was 10. Well, obviously when I was 0, but in terms of what I'm doing now, I had the goal of playing professional soccer from the age of 10. And that was all I was focused on. So for the next 10 years, I just played, trained, did all that stuff. I actually played against the Rochester Rhinos back in the day.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of my first taste. I played professionally for 3 years in my early 20s. But obviously when I was 17, lost my hair to an autoimmune condition. And it really got me thinking, I was fit, but I wasn't healthy. I'm like, maybe I should figure this out. So it took me about 8 years and kind of seeing all the doctors and specialists to realize that I didn't have the answers. And I went to the University of Toronto to study kinesiology. I was working as a personal trainer on the side to kind of put more practical application for what I was learning into place. And I realized that I didn't really have much grasp around nutrition. I was still I understood strength and conditioning in the body, but I didn't understand nutrition. So when I went back to school to study holistic nutrition, I was just floored by what I was learning because I hadn't learned anything at one of the top universities in the world as it pertains to nutrition. And in the space of a couple of weeks, transformed my health, regrew my hair, and it was transformational. Now, obviously, I don't have any hair. About 10 years ago, went to the doctor, got a tetanus booster, fell it again. So that's why this is what it is. But it really got me into this journey of holy cow, for me, it wasn't actually the hair. To be honest, it wasn't that big of a deal. It kind of was, but it wasn't. For me, it was the fatigue that I dealt with for so long. I was sleeping 12 hours a day for 20 years of my life. And I thought that was normal. And when I cleaned up my diet, I was like, whoa, 6 hours of sleep and I'm jumping out of bed. That was transformational for me. So I started reading this book called The All Day Energy Diet, became a #2 New York Times bestseller because I just wanted to help more people. And I was working with clients one-on-one in my mid-20s, 10 to 14 hours a day. I was burning out. And I got to the point where I was like, I can't keep doing this anymore. So in 2005, I was working with a coach and he said, well, why don't you set up a website or something? I was like, what's that? So we set it up, had no clue what we were doing. And for the next 3.5 years, really struggled. So I was working with clients in person, building this online thing at the same time, selling information products, courses, stuff like that, in health and fitness online. But I got no traction. My first year, I made $6,000 online, which is not a lot of money. And during that process, I was cutting down my in-person clients. So my income was just going down, thinking my online income's going to go up, but they were just both going down. And that kept going for 3 years. So that was, poverty line income for, the first 3 years of my business. And it was 100% my fault because I thought that I was smart enough that I could figure things out by myself. And that never works. So in 2010, I made the decision to hire a coach, go to some live events, get away from the computer, meet some people. And that changed everything for me. It was from that point on a hockey stick inflection point. And, we built that business up to a very, very high level. And I got to a point, I'd say about 12 years into the business, where I started, we had a good amount of success. A lot of people were asking me for business and marketing advice, which is why Healthpreneur was birthed. And in that process, I decided I wanted to step out of my health business because number one, I had said everything I can possibly say about it. I've got more than 1,000 videos on YouTube where I'm just sharing everything I know. And the bigger thing was on the outside, it looked successful, but on the inside, it was in shambles. The business was so complex. It was just a disaster. So even though we had all the accolades, I knew I didn't want to do anything with the business anymore because I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't know, it was a very high volume, low touch business. So I didn't know my customers. With Healthpreneur, it's the opposite. It's low volume, high touch. So I know my clients very intimately. It's much more fulfilling for me. So I think that was a really interesting kind of transition point from that type of business model and really just being, disenamored with it to really figuring out what drives me, what am I passionate about, and selling that business and then moving fully into Healthpreneur over the past 6 years. And that's my journey. My journey is I love working with health professionals because I am one at my core. And I believe that they can fundamentally transform the planet by empowering their clients to become healthier, better versions of themselves. And if I can help them build better businesses, then collectively we help more people. So that's the mission that I'm on. And I love I love being an entrepreneur. I love the business side of things. I love the health side of things. And it's just a joy to do what I do.
No, congratulations on really taking, what some could say, maybe you said at the time, some bad cards that were dealt to you, but instead of playing the victim, you, I'll say fought back, right? And really made a great life for yourself. And, you said a couple of times, I don't know if you realized it, but, some things that you did were your own fault and, but then you corrected them. Right. And it reminds me of this guy, he's big in the South. He's big all over the country in motivational speaking and writing books. Larry Wingate. I don't know if you heard of Larry Wingate, but he's got a great quote that your life is your own damn fault. And I love that. Sure. Where you are, God forbid some extenuating health circumstances, et cetera, or some unfortunate trauma that's not your fault. But, for the most part, most of the time, your life is your own damn fault. You're in a bad financial situation. You're in a bad relationship. You don't like your career. It's your own damn fault, right? I'll say this very timely now, we don't live in Russia and we could do whatever we want. You're in Canada. I'm in the US. So far, we still could do whatever we want, right? And from a career perspective, and as long as it's legal and doesn't hurt anybody. So, at the end of the day, your life is your own damn fault. So I love that, and you kind of took that to heart and really, turned some some what could be bad circumstances for you into some very positive circumstances, and not only helping yourself but helping others. And I think that's the best because the more you help others, the more you're helping yourself, right? So.
And it's, I mean, it's a message I share with my kids all the time. Like, if I do nothing else for my kids, then help them understand that it's always their fault. Like, obviously, like they take ownership and responsibility for stuff.
Yeah.
Because what happens, and I've realized this, is most adults are kids in adult clothing. And I realized this, like, I have 4 boys that are all under 11 years old. And I asked,
Wow.
like, I'll just ask them a question, like, what happened down here? Oh, he did this or he did that. And it's always someone else's name instead of their own. And I'm always trying to remind them, like, hey, what could you have done differently? Like, if you were fighting here, could you have maybe just left the situation? They're like, yeah. So, like, do you understand that you are, responsible for part of this? Because I think there's a lot of people that go through life thinking they're owed stuff, and I think entitlement is just probably the biggest pandemic, I think, in North America. And like, we're always blaming other people. It's like, no, dude, look in the mirror, man. If you're a disaster, it's your fault, right? Like, it's like there's no one else to blame but you. Like, and I think if we take ownership of that, we maintain our power. As soon as we give that away, we're hopeless, we're powerless, we can't change. So that's just been my approach through my whole life. And a lot of people ask me, like, why did you stop playing soccer? Why did you retire at 24? And the story used to be, well, like, I didn't like politics. Like, some stuff happened with my agent and the club I was supposed to sign for afterwards. The reality, though, is I didn't want to do it anymore. That was the truth. Like, I truly didn't want to live that lifestyle anymore. And I just fell out of love with the desire wasn't there. That's on me. It's not like, politics aside, it was my choice. So I think it's just, I think a piece of maturation is taking ownership of your actions. Like, and sadly, there's a lot of politicians who still haven't learned that lesson.
Right. Yeah. Like all of them.
It's crazy.
I don't care. I'm going to stick at both sides, to be honest with you. In America here, they say you're either, red or blue. Right. And I'm like, no, I'm not either color. I just want to be American. How about I just get back to being American? Like, not
it's
red.
like the divided states of America. Like,
right.
Whatever
Yeah.
happened to the United States, right?
Exactly. I love it. Let's make Canada part of America. I love you guys. So, or maybe we'll become part of Canada. Maybe that's better. I don't know. So, but, so I want to, get really specific here about some of the things that you do. Like, you transformed your life through good nutrition. And I love that, right? You grew your hair back, you got more healthy. And I have a very good friend who years ago, when she was in her mid-20s, had, I believe, cervical cancer, and was told that she would never be able to have babies. Well, she decided that was not an option for her, and that she was going to cure her body through nutrition and just good health. And so today she has 5 kids. Right. Amazing. She owns a health and wellness business. She's a kinesiologist, easy for me to say, like you as well. And it all started with, like, completely overhauling her health. And obviously that starts with food. And so it's amazing. It's amazing, from having a doctor saying that because of your cancer, you'll never have kids. Mm-hmm. 5 kids later, she's like, F you. And what you did as well. And a lot of doctors, there's a lot of great doctors, don't get me wrong, but I think the medical industry is trained to take care of people after they're sick instead of before they're sick. Right. Mm-hmm. And because there's not a lot of money in that. A lot of money in cancer, not a lot of money in prevention. And so you took the bull by the horns. What did you do? And what do you continue to do from a nutrition perspective? Because I want to get nitty and gritty with our listeners mm-hmm. and our viewers here, so that you can give them some ideas of how to just completely, recharge and almost like, redo their body, right, and their health.
Yeah, I mean, the Coles note, I would just say, like, read any of my books on Amazon. The All the Energy Diet is probably the first one to have a look at. But really simply, I mean, I'm not fanatical about food anymore. I'm very, very liberal, very liberal. I mean, I just had a decaf espresso with a chocolate chip cookie, right? Just for full context. Mm-hmm. I don't do that every day. Yeah. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, my body really transformed when I understood that it was very polluted from 20 plus years of eating garbage, like the standard American diet. And then I started to understand, oh, I'm very acidic, very toxic. Well, what's the opposite of that? Oh, eating more plant-based foods, more vegetables, more fruit. All right, let's try that. And that's really like, it's as simple as that. And I know like the thing with nutrition is that it's so simple, but people make it so profound, so profoundly difficult because from a marketing perspective, you have to, right? If you think about this, there are thousands of diet books on the shelves. They're all saying the same thing, more or less. And the reason for that is because when you get a book with a publisher, they want to know, how is this different from the other book? Yeah. So authors are always looking for the angle. And that's great from a marketing perspective. It's confusing from a consumer perspective because it's all more or less the same thing. Eat more plants, eat more whole foods, get rid of the junk. And that's about it. Like I went more or less raw vegan as an experiment for a number of months. I felt the best I've ever felt. It's not something I could sustain, but I started to learn some really powerful lessons in that process. The power of greens, green juices, all that kind of stuff. So that was really, how it started. Now, I mean, I'm not, I do my best to have a good amount of greens in my diet, but I would say my diet is very, it's well balanced. I eat a good combination of like animal products, plant-based foods. So it's not super, super technical. I don't count my calories. I don't count my macros. Like I found what works for me. Actually, a lot of times, I'm a big proponent of intermittent fasting. I think if you have a relatively healthy metabolism, most people will do very well with it. So typically I don't eat for, not every day, but a few times a week. Let's say I finish dinner at 6:30 or 7. I won't eat until the next day, mid or late afternoon. And the nice thing about that is like, I don't have to think about what I'm going to have for lunch. Number 2 is I don't have to think about food. Number 3 is I actually have more and this is not just me, like most people who fast experience the same level of mental clarity. So from a productivity standpoint, it's great. And also from just like tapping into your own thoughts. Like, am I really hungry right now or am I just bored or anxious? Do I really have to have, this smoothie at 9 a.m. or can it wait? So we just get into these rhythms that if we just kind of step back for a second and ask like, I feel like shit after this. Why am I eating it in the morning? I'm not even hungry, right? And so I find for myself, eating less is actually one of the best ways to heal your body. And then if you have a big meal at night, it doesn't matter. 2,000 calories throughout the day or 2,000 calories in one sitting, it's the same thing. So for me, that's what's worked. Yeah, so that's, in a nutshell, awesome. What I do.
Yeah, well, there's 2 things there that I've learned, and you just reinforced it, is that I used to think that if in order for you to be plant-based, you had to also say that you were vegan, which is not true, right? I mean, you could be like have a very plant-based diet. And you're plant-based, right? Like if the majority of what you're having is, fruits and vegetables and I'm having a little healthy chicken over here on the side, but maybe you go for 3 days without any meat or whatever. So you could be plant-based and not have to be vegan, right? And then and another guy, Sahil Mehta, that I had on my podcast, he really, I didn't really understand intermittent fasting, like what the benefits were. Cause I'm like, you're skipping breakfast, right? But there's more to it than that. Because he, through some research that he read about, that basically, when your body is not busy using energy to digest food, instead it's healing itself, right? So whatever, we all have things going on in our body that need some repair, cell repair, et cetera. And so when it's not busy digesting food, it has more bandwidth to focus on just healing other parts of your body, right? And that hit home for me. I'm like, oh, I like that. I mean, I'm a very visual person, and so just the vision of my body, not having to digest any food, but instead going to fix these things instead. I like that a lot too. One thing that I don't know what you think about this, but what has come up for me over and over again when I do my research on health is sleep. You were sleeping 12 hours a day is probably too much, but getting, minimum of 6 to 8, right, a night, and just the healing powers and the chemistry that happens in your body when you're getting a good night's sleep. Is that something that is a priority for you as well?
1,000,000%. I mean, the single best thing I did for my, aside from the nutrition, the one thing I think everyone should do, and this doesn't matter the state of your health, like every single person on the planet should do this, is go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. Go to bed before 10, wake up before 6, you will fundamentally transform your metabolism. Because so number one, there's a tremendous amount of research that shows that you spend more time in deep sleep when you sleep before midnight. Most deep sleep happens between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. So the later you go to bed, the less time you have in deep sleep, which is important for regeneration, repair, consolidation of all that, learning, et cetera. But also when you have a consistent sleep-wake schedule, the human body has a circadian rhythm, which is very similar to the sun rising and setting. So if it's all over the map, like your metabolism, your hormones are a disaster. So if you do 5 days a week and then you go party on the weekends, don't even bother. And I think that's like for me, I don't even set an alarm clock anymore. I mean, I do just in case, but I get up usually before my alarm clock between 4 and 4:30. And I'm like, let's get the day started, let's go. And it just takes time to adapt to that. That's all it is. But I'll tell you, from an energy perspective, that is the single most important thing you can do is just go to bed before 10, wake up before 6 every single day for the rest of your life. And if you have an issue with that, then feeling amazing, it's just not a priority for you. That's I'll just say it as simple as that.
Again, your life is your own damn fault, right? So
exactly. You don't have to watch movies till 11:30 at night. You don't have to watch the Tonight Show. You can watch it on YouTube, right? It's just a choice.
Or you don't have to watch TV at all.
Exactly. Read a book.
Yeah, read a book. I love that. I love that. I love getting into bed around 9:30 and trying to be asleep by 10. Love that. And then I naturally wake up around 5:30. I don't set the alarm either, and then the first thing I do is have a big glass of lemon water, do some deep breathing, read a little bit, and then do a good workout. And that's my morning routine, and
same as me. Yeah.
Yeah. And if I don't work out, my non-negotiable is if I'm for some reason I'm a little bit late, I will get a workout in, even if it's a 10-minute power run right on the treadmill.
Yeah.
But if I can't for some reason, this happens rarely, but if I can't work out for some reason, I'm off. Totally. I'm a bitch, during the day.
I think for a lot of us entrepreneurs, we're very creative, a lot of ideas, our brain is always going to get and I feel there's a fundamental difference between a strength workout and a huff and puff cardio workout. So I do my cardio, a bike ride or whatever in the morning, because the endorphins that get going, just like you said, you fundamentally become a different person for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing strength training, I'll typically do it later in the day when I'm, when I feel, stronger than I would at 4:30 in the morning. But I'm the same way. If I don't work out in the morning, it's just, it's not the same caliber of day.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, maybe we're related. I don't know. I think we believe a lot of the same things. We're both very handsome too. So yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Yuri, this has been tremendous. Do me a favor, repeat the name of your 3 books.
Well, the old ones were in the health space. So the all-day energy diets, the all-day fat burning diets, and the all-day fat burning diet cookbook. But that's the health stuff. More of the recent stuff. My more recent book is called Mind Floss. So we floss our teeth every day. We should floss our mind every day. So it's a really cool book on mindset and just really creating a life through, what's going on up here.
Excellent. I like it. Mind Floss. Yeah. There used to be a magazine. I was in the magazine business before, and there was another magazine that a friend of mine started called Mental Floss. And but it was kind of fun history and facts and just information to really kind of put your brain in a fun place, And so I like your title as well. And Yuri, people want to get in touch with you, website, email, all that good stuff.
Best place is Instagram. Just search @Healthpreneur on Instagram, and then everything from there is pretty much self-explanatory.
All right, very good. And if anybody wants a personal introduction to Yuri, throw me an email, david@davidmamano.com, and I'll introduce you to Yuri, and I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you and help you any way he can. Yuri, thanks again. Thanks for all that you're doing for the world, making such a great impact, and I really appreciate you sharing some heartbeats with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, David.
Appreciate it. Wish you continued massive success. I also want to thank the Gonzo family for listening or watching the Gonzo experience today. Really appreciate it. Always, again, give us feedback, david@davidmamano.com. The website is davidmamano.com. And of course, if you like it, share that right now. Share it with your friends. That's great information. Share, like us, rate us, all that good stuff. Appreciate you very much. Have a great day, everybody. Make sure to stay awesome.